What is up, YouTube family? This is Grown B, and today I want to talk about what my experience has been in ranked when it comes to Sparking Zero. If you've interacted with me on other videos or in the comment section or just kind of been listening to my dialogue around ranked, you would know that I don't really care for the game mode too much. And that's not specific to Sparking Zero. I wasn't big on ranked when it came to Tekken 8. I wasn't big on ranked when it came to Injustice 2 or Mortal Kombat 1. I've always just enjoyed playing with friends a little bit more and trying to get better that way than playing against strangers and getting a little digital plaque that tells me or tells them how good I'm supposed to be at the game. But because I spend so much time talking about the culture and the community around Sparking Zero, I felt like it is appropriate for me to spend more time in the ranked game modes so I can have a better informed opinion. And so far that opinion is that I'm still able to have some fun. I have been just kind of climbing up through C rank thus far. I think I'm only just a couple of wins away from B rank. I still love the game. I've ran into a few Super Saiyan 4 Gogetas. I've ran into some people who are spamming Ki Blast and spamming supers and that sort of thing. And so far it hasn't really bothered me. I do think I'm starting to realize that I don't like single battles very much. It doesn't have anything to do with the characters that people choose. I just don't like how when you really start to get excited and feel good about the fight, like the fight is pretty much over. I don't like how it feels like the moment you land a really good move, your opponent is either almost dead or you're almost dead if they hit one on you. And when I think back to Tenkaichi 3 and how I was able to enjoy single battles back on Tenkaichi 3, is we would boost our health up. So we had like 5 or 6 health bars, even though we were doing single battles. And I think just the 3 health bars, or maybe the 4 health bars if you're a higher health character, it doesn't really satiate and satisfy me as far as the battle, right? The battle doesn't have the same type of like pace where it works into something really exciting. The solution to that obviously seems to be like just go play DP battles, but I'm already kind of seeing what the trade-off is going over to the DP battle. So on one hand, it's just I'm not quite satisfied with the battle. I'm not quite satiated enough with it. But then on the other hand, when it comes to the DP stuff, it's like I really don't want to adopt that strategy of just trying to survive until the time runs out. Because I've already ran into a couple of players who are just switching characters in and out and running around a little bit and getting a knockback and just trying to hover around a certain health pool to the point where eventually the time runs out and it's just whoever happened to have the most health. Like, I want to fight, man. I think that's ultimately what my biggest issue with playing ranked right now is, that I just feel like I'm playing with a bunch of people who don't want to fight. Like, I feel like there's 2 types of fighting game players. Fighting game players who want to beat people up, and then fighting game players who really like fighting. And honestly, even if I'm going up against spammers, even if I'm going up against Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or Ultra Instinct Goku, like, I want to fight. And I felt like even in some of the battles that I was in, where I felt like, man, that was a good battle, I would love to fight this person again, they don't want a rematch. And so sometimes it's like I win and I'm excited about that fight and I want a rematch, or I lose and I'm excited about the fight and I want a rematch. But it just seems like everyone is so in this. Honestly, I've never been able to explain it. My theory has been that if people feel like there's a threat to losing, right? Whether they just won and they feel like they can lose the next one, or they just lost and they feel like they can't win the next one, they leave. And to be honest, that has been my biggest issue more than anything. I feel like there's 2 types of fighting game players. Fighting game players who just want to beat people up, and then fighting game players who like fighting. And even if you're a spammer, right? I like to fight. I rather stay in a session and go back and forth with a spammer and see how many different ways can I figure out counters to this person's strategy, right? If somebody's better than me, right? I fought an Android 17 that was mixing me up real good. I think he was only like a C2, but he had very good fundamentals. He knew exactly what to do in a lot of situations. I want to say that he may have played the game before, and maybe has another account or something with a higher rank, he played really, really, really well. But it never crossed my mind to say, oh man, I want to get away from this guy as quickly as possible. Like, I wanted to fight him again. And I don't think that a lot of people have that mentality. And to be honest, I charge it to people being afraid to lose, right? Whether you won the match and maybe you deep down feel like you didn't deserve it and you don't know or have the confidence to go into the next match and win, or believe that you can go into the next match and win. And then there's the guys that are losing that say, oh man, I don't want to go into this match if I'm just going to lose again. But they're not even thinking about like what they could learn by going in there and playing against somebody that's better than them. And so I've had some matches like doing Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. And I beat him up real bad. And I'm like, oh, well, you know, that was cool. I'm gonna run a rematch with him. No rematch. There was a guy that I was playing who was using Future Gohan. And he kept trying to insta-spark, and then he kept trying to like Dragon Dash over to me. And once I realized that that was just like a core piece of his strategy, I was pretty much countering it every single time. I think I found like 2 or 3 different ways to counter, whether it was a sidestep, or I forced him to clash me with a Dragon Rush type move, or I hit him with a step back super. And I actually sent that guy a message shortly after our ranked match, and I was like, hey dude, just come train. Like, I wanted to be able to have a session and just be like, hey man, you don't have to insta spark like you don't have to be so predictable. Let's just talk about how we can mix up your offense a little bit. But he didn't end up responding and didn't jump into the party that I sent. And so, you know, I ended up, I think, fighting a couple more battles and then just thinking about how, like, yeah, I ranked up and most of my fights were more so, even though I'm like the C rank, most of my fights were like up against like B4s and B3s, and I just didn't feel really satisfied. To me, winning is not very satiating to me, to be honest. I like that moment where you've been fighting somebody for a while and they've learned a little bit about you and you've learned a little bit about them, and so now you can't do the stuff that you were doing 30 minutes ago because they have responses and counters for it, and the mind games have been unlocked. And now, like, even if you have more experience, even if you're a better rank or whatever, you're playing against somebody that just knows you a little bit, and those battles totally change after that. And sometimes it takes maybe 5 or 6 or 7 games. Sometimes it'll take 10 games, and then something will flip in each of the players, and I don't want to cuss too much on this channel, but the excitement of the games totally change after that. Now, granted, right, I know the ranked setup, I think it's just maybe like a general like a first to 3 type of thing, but this is not specific to Sparking Zero either. People do this in Tekken, people do this in Multiverses. I've never understood this mindset. That's the only problem that I think I'm really having right now when it comes to ranked matches. And for the most part, right, based on what people are saying, some of the cheese and some of the more irritating or frustrating tactics happen as you get deeper into like B rank and A rank and whatnot, and I get it. When it comes to just my overall ranked experience so far, I've been having fun, right? I have my reservations about single battle. I have my reservations about DP battle. This still is probably going to be a game that I play more with my friends. And I think playing ranked just kind of confirms that, like, there's just something different about playing with your friends. So with that being said, these have just kind of been my general thoughts as far as ranked. I really just want to fight people who want to fight. And as I find those people, you know, maybe the ranked matches will be a little bit more satisfying, and maybe these people will become friends. And maybe you'll see them a little bit more on the channel. But with that being said, if you like the video, like it. If you think someone else might like it, share it. And if you want to see more, really hope that you would subscribe. Oh, this was actually my biggest takeaway. I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier. If you can consistently vanish supers and ultimates, I think you will rank up a lot faster than some other people. I think that you can get to A rank if if you just add being able to vanish supers and ultimates consistently, right? If somebody's throwing out a raw super, a raw ultimate, or somebody just thinks that all they have to do is hit you with a super counter and send you flying and then just throw out their ultimate, if people don't believe that those are guaranteed on you because you will vanish them, I think you can get all the way to A rank off of that alone, right? Obviously, you still need combos, you still need like basic defense and offense and those sort of things. But I think that's one thing that I'm just not seeing people do. I've fought people in B rank, I've fought people in C rank, right? I've even watched gameplay of people in A rank that just are not consistently vanishing supers that I'm looking at and I'm saying, you should be vanishing that, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be perfectly vanishing 100% of the time, but anywhere in the like 30-40% of situations where someone thought that if they just send you flying, that it's guaranteed and you vanish it, right? Or someone throws out a raw super because they feel like you're not paying attention, or they feel like you're going to try to side dodge it, but it's a tracker, right? Vanish those. Oh my gosh. And then it adds in the psychological mind game where people are now starting to second guess, well, should I throw this super? Should I throw this ultimate? And it gets them out of their rhythm and what they normally try to do. But so far, right, I've been doing a lot of knowledge checks, right? Situations and setups that I wouldn't normally do, but I'm just like, I'm going to launch this person and let's just see if they know how to vanish. And they don't know how to vanish. So I would highly recommend